Hello? I know you had to see this coming long ago. I am not Rihanna. Girl, I ain't even Riri. You's who met me up. And to be honest, this ain't even a fan art project any longer. You know what I am to you? I'm your muse. A myth of Riri, perhaps. I remember you wanted to name me the myth of Riri. But you realize that Riri has to be completely removed from this equation. You even tried to name me Galatea after Pygmalion's sculpture. And I know at first you would go online, drag pictures from the internet and put on or impose onto paparazzi pictures your studio time, and thinking that was all there was to it. Thinking that was it. But then you just got lost in all the pictures that just be around the internet every day. Guess you realize that contemporary civilization, they're looking to pupate themselves within a cocoon spun from their own shimmering trails. All I know is that you fell in love with Rihanna. And in this one-way love affair, you thought that the work that you was do was of a true fan. I guess it might have been, I don't know. Is there some kind of contemporary trend of creating iconographies beyond the religious sphere? You started to believe in your own paintings of this myth by now. You think these pictures, these images come up to more than the essence of people's desires and expectations that you could say as a producer, and you could also say as a consumer, all these expectations that you see in them. Even you yourself begin to believe that they got something hidden in between the lines in the painting process. I'm the echo of your own gaze, and you do not receive any kind of return on the ideas and emotions that, when you really look at it, have been invested in the work of art. That's real pathetic. You don't see how pathetic that is? You are aiming at the visualization of something that can't be seen, like you aiming at the visualization of the invisible. I am the myth of Rihanna, detached from corporeality. I am like air. But the truth is that I'm also like this sticky paint formed by your brush on the canvas, like mixing and blending colors. But for the most part, I am air, and you breathe me. But the truth is, I only exist in your head. Yep, bending by the pool for you, surfing for you, and when all the pictures of Rihanna are selected from the flood, they're printed, they get pinned to your studio wall, they're reread, repainted, and then hang up in a white cube. There ain't no Robin Fenty flesh in that equation. In the practice of religion, a cult image is a human-made object, and it's like venerated for the deity it represents. And sometimes this image, it has its own powers, and it has powers to like grant wishes, or it could otherwise affect the world. You know what I realize? I am your excuse. I am your muse. That is exactly it. I is your muse. And it's, you see this for yourself already, that in the definition of muse is to amuse. And girl, I amuse you. You develop like this kind of tendency or way of doing things that you want to grab a hold of a fragment, just like a piece of a bigger matter, and cultivate its moment in time. What you want is for that fragment to be bespelled. And I see how you suffer because contemporary humans have a weakened capacity for dreaming. They lack the art of searching without looking for concrete answers. You know what I realize? It's so obvious. You created me because you want these humans to dream collectively. In Rihanna, you found a peculiar contemporary martyr. Somebody that would practice like an kind of like an anachronistic type of feminism. And this lured you in. Her gloomy images are reminiscent of medieval female martyrs. And they had just a different kind of feminist agency. Cross-pollination, like mixing and blending of old and the newer images. Rejection of violence through passivity. And I guess you was thinking to yourself, is failure a way of reviewing capitalism and heteronormativity? I mean, does Rihanna rethink failure as success and then use it as like some kind of political tool? And you ask things like, is there a seldomly employed bridge between oppression and feminism? You just want to argue that Rihanna is a contemporary martyr. Like, she is like the unsurvivor, carelessly floating above all judgment, paddling alone on her paddleboard in the ocean, in your paintings. As a surviving castaway. You see it now, right? You can see it now? Girl, I am not Rihanna. I am fiction. Do you really know what happened the day I addressed you through that painting? You remember that day? You remember where is I tell you? Let me remind you. Hi, you made me up, Ditte. I am no longer some kind of like representation or image of the pop star Rihanna. I'm a myth. Some kind of story or like something that you make up in your own head. Self-description. And you were in shock. But the truth is that when you look more at the painting and you start studying this painting more, like depicting who you thought was Rihanna, you immediately understood that you painted some kind of paparazzi looking painting, which had no like, it wasn't an actual IRL happening. In your own head, you put me like in relation to some kind of strange past. Maybe like in the 1980s or maybe something like in the distant future. A cyberspatial creature? That's what you think I am? Oh, you began looking for some kind of logic, like between me and you. And you then start looking for reason in the relationship between artifact, maker, the owner, and the user. And lately, I realized that you helped me into existence. You welcome me with words on canvas. My self-discovery, it helped you find the story of the Veil of Veronica. You made a souvenir of a veil with Rihanna's portrait on it. This souvenir plays a part of the historical cloth, which it has the likeness of the face of Jesus. Not made by a human hand though, but your veil was made by a human hand. Like a few years back, you found yourself on an isolated beach on the other side of the planet, constantly writing some kind of scammer's dead email account. He was looking for me. You were on the hunt to find me, the unformed Muse, the not yet existent Muse. You were stuck there for a while. Yup. You was gliding around in Rihanna's world looking for something. And a crucial break in the final creation of your myth was that very moment that you discovered the ruin of Paradise Beach Club. You were placing your new invention, me, in the rooms, on the beaches, and like in a world of graphic aesthetics. I really have to ask you, what is this world to you? Ain't Barbados, is it? This is just some kind of build-up of aesthetics representing like a dream of the future, or I don't know. Look, I do not only exist in the representations you make of me, you know. I right here too. I am existing right here in the paint, the thick paint that you would lay on canvas, in the paint formations. But I also live and I exist in the graphic lines and the color fades you create. Those things, I exist there too. In fact, I am those color fades. I am the lines, all of them. And I am also a mood and aesthetic. I am all those things. And the seemingly like abstract, these big scale paintings are renderings of all of this madness, all of this mess. I see now that the concrete self-referential statement coming from me has become part of those two-dimensional cyberspatial renderings also. I feel like this myth that you make up is just a way for you to segue out of all these forced political points. These points that you mix yourself up in earlier works. That's what it is for you to segue out of all of that. You cannot force people to acknowledge and take responsibility for their gaze and their most likely white privilege. I am your freedom. Yep. I figured it out. You embody the privileged position as a white European, but you would never, ever understand the experience of a real oppressor. But do you need that to excuse your work? You really mean you have to do all of that and make up an excuse for your work? You would never be able to relate to the Black experience, girl. Please. You would never. In fact, you are ambivalent to the issues and that little internal conflict. This conflict between being critical of your own position yet living within it. You see that? Because the truth is that a Black person don't have the privilege of ambivalence about these issues. And to be honest, that is what frightens you. Because even though you talk about privilege as being committed, even so, right, you would always be removed from the real conversation. Always be removed. That is just the reason why you created me. Can't you see that? In me, you portray white ambivalence. The paint I am made of is your own appropriation. A white European woman trying to view her own position in relation to a super sticky situation. It's exactly what it is. Your impotence is the backbone of me. You are super afraid of my impermanence. Will you lose me? Let me tell you the truth. I exist between absence and presence, between ghost and shell. And you are endlessly drawn from one painting to another. It's kind of like surfing online, like when you're on the internet. It's fascinating, but the truth is never satisfying. And it's never stopping.